Hey guys, welcome to our Thursday video for week 1 in our November curriculum. Before we get going with our lesson, get your body warmed up, doing some jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups, front-ups, getting a stretch in your legs, and then doing some 30 seconds of high knees or mountain climbers, something to get your body moving and blood pumping. Ready, set, go. All right, so first thing we're going to learn today is a stance, okay, and a little bit of movement with the stance. It's called long forward stance, and then we're going to add shifting to it, okay? So long forward stance is similar to a ready stance, but just like the name says, it's longer and out, and you step forward instead of stepping back, okay? So typically, when we say right side back, ready stance, move, you step back just a little bit with your back, putting your right side back. I pretend I'm in the mirror, I'm mirroring you guys. So you step back with your right foot. You've got your feet are not in a line. There's no tight ropes here, right? So we think train tracks, and you're going to use the same kind of train tracks for the long forward stance. I've got a bend in my knee. Both feet are pointed forward. That's the ready stance. Now, long forward stance is different because instead of stepping back with our right side, we step forward with our left foot, and it's going to be just ever so slightly bigger than the ready stance, okay? So ready stance is right about here. I'll show you from the side, right about here, okay? Long forward stance, you step forward with the left side, still train tracks, only now it's bigger, okay? Here's a better view, all right? Deeper bend in the front leg. I still have both feet pointing in the same direction. I don't want to have the back side turned out like this, okay? We want all 10 toes pointed forward towards the front, okay? And I'm also still on train tracks, no tightrope. That's really hard to balance. So still on train tracks, maybe just ever so slightly wider than my shoulder width, okay? But really leaning into that front leg, and the hands still come up into the ready position. So if you have a parent or helper there with you, we really want to make sure you get in the proper stance. So one more time from an angle, instead of stepping back with your right side, now you're stepping forward with the left side. It's a nice deep stance. Now it's not like this where you can't put your foot on the ground. No, you still need to be able to keep that back heel on the ground while still really leaning into that front knee. So you're pressing that heel into the floor back here. Nice deep bend in the knee up here, and making sure that you are on train tracks, right? Your feet are not in a line. You don't want them lined up in one line like this, then that's really hard to balance. Train tracks, just like in the ready stance, right? So here's what I want you to practice. And if you need to, always start on the same spot on your floor, and then if you have something you can put on the floor as kind of a marker for you to know where you need to step, and then come back, and step. Remember, those hands still come up, come back, and I want you to practice always stepping right back into that same spot every time, so that your long forward stance is the same every single time. Practicing the long forward stance, all right? So practice your long forward stance a couple times, memorizing how that feels, where your foot ends up. There's a nice stretch in the back leg with that heel pressing into the floor, and your knee is nice and bent, so that you got a really strong stance, all right? So practice stepping back and forth in your long forward stance until you can do it every time without putting your foot in a different spot, but always going back to the same position. Ready, set, go. Okay, now the next thing we want to add to that, adding to our long forward stance, we're going to add what's called shifting, okay? Because we're going to end up putting it together with our inside block and another strike. But first I want us to practice just that lower body movement of shifting. So here's what that looks like. I step into my long forward stance right side forward. Now when I shift, my upper body is going to stay facing the same direction, but then my feet, I'm going to come up on my toes a little bit, and I change. So now my feet are pointing to the side. Now it's this leg that's bent, and this one, which is was my front leg, is now pressing the heel into the floor. And this knee is bent, okay? So we'll come back. I step into my long forward stance, and then when I shift, it's almost like a little up and down landing. Now that other heel is pressing to the floor, the other knee is bent, and we've switched places with our legs. But I don't want to turn my whole body this way. I want to keep my hands and eyes forward, because then I can shift back, right? So it's almost like my legs are kind of trading positions without actually picking up my feet. Front leg is bent, back knee is straight with that heel pressing into the floor, and then I shift. Now this knee is bent, and this heel is pressing into the floor, but I've still got my upper body facing the same direction, and now I can shift back to the front, right? Heel pressing in, knee bent, and now I'm going to shift, and I traded places. So now this one's straight, and this one's bent, and I shift back. All right, so that is what I want you to practice next. Shifting back and forth, but keeping your upper body in one position as your legs do the shifting. All right, practicing that shifting movement. Practice it about 10 to 15 times. I want you to feel it really sharp, and then we'll be done with those long forward stance and shifting. Ready, set, go. All right, guys, the next thing we're going to be working on today is a technique called single high sinawali. This is from the SWMA portion of our Chitudo program. SWMA is a Filipino stick fighting, also knives and other things, okay? The single high sinawali is a great starting point for beginners, and it helps teach you to work with a partner, practicing self-control, practicing safe distance, and learning the proper way to hold and handle the sticks, okay? So if you don't have sticks at home, you can do all of these moves with your hands, okay? Pretending that your hands are the sticks, okay? What I'm going to show you today, I am going to use the sticks though, okay? So when you are given two sticks, right, you want to practice holding them safely. You don't want to just walk around the mat swinging them around. That's not good self-control at all, and that's how you get sticks taken away from you. When you are given a pair of sticks, the proper way to hold them, there's two ways. You can hold both of them together under one side, like this, right? So you have them in one hand, put them under the opposite armpit, then slide your hand, your free hand underneath, and put it on your wrist. And this is how you safely control the sticks as you are waiting for instructions, right? The other way to do it is you have one stick in each hand, okay? This way, you want to put them under their opposite armpits, and then just suck your arms down and hold them right here, so you're not swinging them around, okay? So whenever you are holding onto a stick, maybe even a bat, right? If you're at home, anywhere, any place, we all have a tendency, oh, I've got something cool in my hand, I'm gonna swing it around, right? Well, just last month with our self-control, we talked about keeping our hands to ourselves for our safety and for others' safety. Well, certainly keep your sticks to yourself as well. So if you have, whatever you're holding is an extension of your body and an extension of your hand. And if you're not showing good self-control with these things, somebody could get hurt, and then you're in trouble for not paying attention to what you were doing. But if you're holding them still, if they're right here, it's you almost kind of rest your arms, and it's pretty easy to stick right here and not be swinging them around. So if you have something at home you could practice this with, even like some paper towel, empty paper towel rolls, okay, or paper, I know we're not quite into that season yet, but if you had some empty wrapping paper poles, maybe if, you know, ask your parents if there's something in the garage, like some PVC pipe, or even get some sticks from your yard, right? But practice holding them safely and controlling them as you walk around so that you're not hitting or injuring anyone. That's the first lesson before we even get to the sinawalis, is practicing proper self-control with your sticks so that they don't get taken away from you. All right? Now, single sinawali. All right? Single high sinawali. High means that we're going to be starting with our sticks up here. Okay? The trick to holding these sticks is to hold them right here where the handle and the pad come together, especially if you're a smaller person, because if you're holding them down here at the bottom, it gets really floppy and hard to control. It's a lot more balanced and they feel less heavy when you hold them right here. Okay? You bring those elbows up and you've got your hands, I think you've got the sticks by your ears, right? If you didn't have anything in your hands, you would want to bring your hands back here by your ears. Okay? And the next thing we're going to do, I'll show you this with open hand first, is we're going to reach out with one stick, keeping our thumb up. And all you do is reach right out to the middle and then come back. Reach right out to the middle and then come back. We're not swinging through and we're not swinging through, right? Because then if you have a stick in your hand, you don't want to go like this, because then you're not ready for the next thing. So you always, for this particular drill, for single highs, you always want to bring your stick right back to where it came from. Reaching right out to the middle and coming right back to where you came from. As we get more advanced with our SWMA techniques in warriors, then there's different strikes and different directions that you go, okay? But just for now, for today, for juniors, we're doing single high. That means you do one hit up high, one hit up high. When you have a partner working with you, when you reach out with your right stick, they're going to reach out with their right stick. So it's opposite side to opposite side, okay? So if remembering to always bring it back here. Now, just like with our positioning that we worked on in the last video, having proper hand positioning, having my sticks resting on my shoulders is not positioning. If my elbows are down against my body, that's not proper positioning. That's lazy sinawalis, and that doesn't fly here, right? You gotta have your elbows up in the air, reaching out, keeping the thumb side up. You don't want to go like this. It's not a downward. It's swinging around to the from the outside, stopping right in the middle, and then coming right back. Swinging around from the outside, stopping in the middle, and coming right back. So that is single high. Okay. You can even twist your body a little bit as you do it. That way it's not just your arms swinging out, but let your body do that motion, and then it's a little bit less tiring for your arms, okay? And then when you're done, tuck them under your armpits and safely walk to where you're going to store your sticks, and then gently, carefully put them away. All right, so that is single high sinawali. A little bit of teaching on how to properly hold the sticks and the proper etiquette while you're not using them. All right, so practice that a little bit, and that's it for single highs today. Ready, set, go. Okay, guys, so I'm going to come right away here to teaching you our Bible verse today. The other thing we're going to be doing in class on the mat is a little partner game. We're on working together with a partner. So if there's something that your parents would like you to do, maybe working together with one of your siblings, ask your parents, hey, is there something we can do to practice some cooperation? Maybe working together to clean up some toys or do some dishes or rake leaves outside, right? There's lots of different ways to practice cooperation. So ask your parents for something that you can do to practice that. All right, so today we're going to talk about our Bible verse. Our Bible verse says, bear one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. Galatians 6:2. The law of Christ is found in the Bible, and it says, love God with all your heart and soul and mind. And then the second part of that law is to love your neighbor as yourself. Okay? Our neighbor, meaning not just the people who live next door, but it's everyone. Okay? Everyone in your life, anyone that you come into contact with, even the people you don't like, and the people you already love. Okay? So Christ's law is to love God and love others. This says to bear one another's burdens so that we are obeying that law that Christ gave us, that Jesus gave us. Okay? Now, to bear one another's burdens, this is so important, guys. This is something I really try to do a good job of, and I want to be there for you guys in this way as well. A burden is a heavy load, something that's really hard to carry. Okay? So not only should we physically help people when we see them trying to do something that's really heavy and hard to do, but this also pertains to difficult things we're going to go through in our life, right? Sometimes we experience really sad things. Sometimes we experience things that make us really angry, things that make us feel lonely or frustrated. And it's really hard to, it can make you feel really sad, in all kinds of different ways, okay? And the way that we bear one another's burdens, those difficult things, those hard times, is by being willing to listen, to say, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Right? And to notice, you can tell when maybe someone's in a grumpy mood or a sad mood. And sometimes all they need is just for someone to listen. And you don't have to fix the problem. You don't have to give ideas on what they should do differently. You can just listen. Say, hey, are you doing okay? Do you want to tell me what's going on? And then if they want to share with you, great. That's going to help make that heavy burden, that difficult situation, that will help make it a little bit lighter for them, because now you know what's going on and you can be there for them and help support them and pray for them to help them get through that. Okay? If they say, no, I don't want to talk about it, that's okay. You don't want to make people do something. Sometimes people just aren't ready to talk about it. And if that's the case, just say, that's okay. I understand, but I just want you to know that I am here for you if you do want to talk about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, I'll just be here with you. If they say, I just want to be left alone, well, that's okay too. Sometimes people need to spend some time alone to think about what's going on. And say, okay, but is it okay if I come back later and spend some time with you? We don't have to talk about it. Maybe we can play a game or something, right? So helping bear one another's burdens, that means you care. That means you listen and you pray for your friends and the people around you, even the people you don't like. Remember, we all have difficult things that we're going through, and it's important for us to have compassion and to care. And that's what it means to bear each other's burdens, help our friends, help people get through those hard times and be there for them. And in that way, we are loving God and also loving them. All right, that's all I got for today. You guys have a great day.